Good morning, baseball fans, and welcome back to Dan's Vintage Baseball PC. Do not be fooled by that very fancy name because it's just me and some friends talking about baseball cards. And today is part two of the Gabby Street show. If you recall, last week, Galen and I went through an incredible number of different items, memorabilia, autographed balls, cards, of course, all having to do with this fascinating figure in baseball and American history. But we didn't finish. That's the crazy thing. We didn't finish. We have a whole bunch of other things to talk about. We got through up to Gabby Street finishing managing the St. Louis Browns in 1938, getting a 1940 play ball card. But his life went on for, I guess, from 38 to 51, another 13 years. But he did a lot in that time frame. And there's some other items that are fascinating to view. So let me bring my guest back on. Good morning again, sir. How are you?
I'm fine.
Well, I should be honest with our viewers. We're recording this about 10 minutes after we ended the first one. So, I would expect you to be about the same as you were 10 minutes ago.
Getting a little tired.
Well, we have less to cover this time, but I do want to cover it because I view it as all incredibly interesting and important to cover this figure thoroughly, something that you've been doing for decades. And it's people like you who make the hobby, to me, incredibly fascinating and rewarding because you have people concentrating their time and their hobby efforts into, memorializing people and events and things that are historically significant and important. And not everybody does that. People just collect cards and they sell them and they buy them and they collect them. But making the hobby about history, art, personal events, connections that you have to these players, family connections, nostalgia is of course always part of it. But to me, it's important. It's important work, and I do thank you for doing that. And we'll wrap it all up at the end, how this affects you personally. But let's get on to where we left off, which was Gabby leaving the baseball world in the uniform, putting on a suit, and starting to become a media figure in St. Louis. And this is an advertisement for Griesdick Brothers now brings broadcast. Is that a beer? Griesdick
Brothers.
I consider myself a beer aficionado, and I've never even heard of this beer.
You're too young. You're too young.
But the amazing thing about this and how Gabby Street, he's one of those guys that touches the world for almost a century because he's all the way back in the the San Francisco earthquake, and now he's partner for a number of years with a young man Harry Carey, who eventually continues on in the game until the end of the 20th century. And there he is, a young Harry Carey with Gabby Street. Can you talk a little bit about how this happened, how he became Harry's partner, and stories about the two of them together?
Actually, I don't know too much about how it happened, how Gabby got started, and how Harry Carey got started. But of course, Gabby had managed the Cardinals, so he was well known in St. Louis. And when he finished up with the Browns, he thought he was finished with baseball, but this opportunity came up, and he originally was doing the home broadcasts for the Browns and the Cardinals, because they both played in Sportsman's Park.
Right.
Exactly. I've never looked into Harry Carey. I think there's a biography of Harry Carey, but I haven't read it, how Harry Carey got involved. But I do notice that so often when people think of Harry Carey, they think of Harry Carey with the Cubs.
Right.
They think, and I always say, no, I remember Harry Carey on the radio, broadcasting Cardinals games. And we all know that when Harry Carey, when there was a home run, Harry Carey would say, "It might be, it could be, it is a home run." I can hear him saying those things. I don't remember him singing. I think he started singing in Chicago, but his career started in St. Louis, doing the Cardinals games, doing the announcing with Gabby Street as his color man.
And here are some great photographs of the two of them together. The one on the left, it looks like they're out on the field. I don't know if is there any background to that?
I don't know for sure, but I believe it to be on September 30th, 1950, when Gabby finished his career as an announcer. And we got another slide that Harry presented him a present at that time. So I think they were saying that Gabby was retiring because Gabby died just a few months later.
Yeah,
so he was sick at the time, and I haven't identified the photo more than that, but it just surely must be at that time.
And then on the right, the two of them.
The one on the right is just a picture of the two of them, but you see a very young Harry Carey without his glasses and Gabby laughing. I like that picture.
I tell you, if I didn't have this in context, in other words, it was among other pictures where you would recognize Harry, I wouldn't recognize that as being Harry Carey if it was given to me out of context.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got to be in his early 20s there.
I wonder how old he is. I should have checked that.
So we have Gabby on the left with a microphone, WIL. Is that the radio station?
I don't remember. I don't know for sure. Clearly a radio station.
When I used to listen to Cardinals broadcasts on the AM radio in the 80s when I was out in school in the Midwest, it was KMOX. It was my recollection.
Right, KMO. That was a St. Louis station, but I don't know why. That's a good question. We'll have to look it up.
Maybe the Cardinals weren't on KMOX in the 1950s. It's possible.
It's possible. So
on the right are two items that you personally own at this point, correct?
Yes. These. We've got a number of items that were auctioned by the family in 2008 that I was able to pick up, and so this was one of them. I was checking. Oh, here I got it. Okay. Yeah, these are items, and the one at the bottom, the one at the top is a knife with a Cardinals logo on it. I don't know how he got that, but the one at the bottom is a tie clasp, and it's engraved to Gabby, my best partner and greatest friend, September 30th, 1950. Yep. So I'm assuming that it's the same day as that picture.
Right.
After Gabby died, Harry paid tribute to Gabby on his radio show. Said, "I was associated with Gabby going on to 7 years, but we didn't work a single day together. We just laughed and lived and argued." It was a nice tribute, I thought.
Yeah, no, that's a nice way of putting it. And then, of course, there's the 48 and 50 baseball guides. 50 would be, of course, his last season announcing, but there they are, Harry Carey and Gabby together. And there it is. Grease Deck Brothers beer.
Still got Grease Deck Brothers beer. Here's one of those.
What do we got?
Little booklets.
Okay. Nice. Where'd you get that?
eBay. The 48 one I just recently was found. A 50 shows up fairly often, and I've had it for quite a while. But the 48 one, I just recently purchased.
And have you opened it up and read through it?
Uh, yeah, I don't have it here. It's a baseball guide. It'll give it. I've got the 50 one here. It it talks about it's from the Sporting News,
Right.
and they summarize here it says Redbird Tales, a whole bunch of stories about Cardinal teams. Here's the Brooklyn Dodgers, and each team is listed and with the roster and the batting averages of the team. Goes through all the teams, and even has minor league teams. It's just a rather
Media guide. Yeah.
media guide.
Yeah. Awesome. That's a nice piece. And that 48 talks about the Dodgers too, because that would be Robinson's second year. 48.
Yeah, I don't seem to have it with me right here,
Right.
so I can't check it. But it would have gone the same thing. It would have talked about 47.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would have had that. Sorry, I don't have it.
I put these two together. He was apparently a big fan of the pipe.
He was a pipe man. This article appeared. I don't know exactly where it appeared, but it was a newspaper article about Gabby as a pipe man.
With 70 pipes, and there he is with all 70.
70 pipes, and there's the display. This
do you have the pipe? Do you have some pipes with you, right?
I have 3.
And those are his.
These are his. This is one of those meerschaum.
Oh. That's a little scary.
Yeah. I think if you look carefully, if you probably can't see it, I think you can identify it in the wall hanging there.
Right.
This picture is taken from his home in Joplin,
which we will see.
Yeah.
So this picture probably dates from, I don't know, maybe mid-30s, late 30s.
Yeah. Well, what do you guess that Sonny looks like? He's about 11 or 12. So it'd be like 35 or something like that. 1935.
Yeah. And there's Lucinda in the driver's seat.
Right.
And the daughter, who was younger, right?
She was, she was a couple years younger. Her name's Sally.
And now are these family photos?
This is from I just one page from a family album.
Right.
Where did it go? Give me a second. It's right here. A typical 1950s family album.
Right. Is that from the family auction?
This is from the family auction.
Right. Nice.
This is just one. I can't. We can't go through the whole thing, but
right.
Unless you want Lucinda in a bathing suit. But a lot of family pictures. These are taken. I like these because these are taken. 3 of them show his house there in Joplin.
Yep.
But there's a better picture in a minute. But it's just a family album, family photographs.
Is that his son in the picture in the middle with him?
I'm not 100% certain. I believe so.
Okay.
His son went in the Army, served in World War II.
Yeah. Well, his father was a Purple Heart winner, so.
Yeah.
So you got Gabby Street's wallet too.
Yeah, Gabby Street's wallet with contents.
You didn't swipe it from his back pocket. You got it illegally in an auction.
I wish I had. I never met the man. I have friends who live next door to him, and was told by my friend's sister that he used to go that her brother used to go over and play catch with Gabby.
Oh, nice.
Yard. So
I noticed there is the World War II card there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's the World War I gas regiment card.
Yep, we talked about that in part 1. For a number of reasons. And then you got everything here. Look at this.
There's a whole bunch of stuff in his wallet, just like anybody's wallet.
You got everything from a barber shop to his American Federation of Radio Artists. So I guess he was a union member when he was on
Yeah.
the radio. There's bottom right is I think the best piece here, which is I guess his pass for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I have one of these for the Braves in the 40s, and that could be a pricey little item if slabbed up and authenticated. But it's already been authenticated. It was literally inherited at auction, so
Yeah.
that is a cool item.
There it is. There's a couple more things that might be worth mentioning that I should have put in a picture, but these are metal rather than cards. I don't remember where they came out of the wallet or what. This one is Association of Professional Baseball Players of America, lifetime membership.
Wow.
And this one is lifetime membership to the Richard Anderson Post 54 of the American Legion.
Yep.
Because as we talked about, he served in World War I.
Yep.
So he was an active member, and he was an active member of the Robert Thurman Post in Joplin.
Right. So you have the membership cards from a bunch of organizations, which, we talked about in the first part. There's no evidence whatsoever that he was a member of any terrible organizations in the early 20th century, but he's certainly a member of a lot of different solid organizations here. Illinois Sheriff Association.
I like the one up the upper right where he's a special deputy sheriff in St. Paul, Minnesota. You remember the election with Hershel Walker when he claimed he was a deputy sheriff?
Yes.
Well,
because he had one of
these. Gabby was also involved in as a deputy sheriff.
So this house is in Joplin, right?
Yes.
What does it look like these days?
This is a recent photo. I took this photo.
Oh, really? Okay.
This is one I took a few years ago when I was there. He lived not too far from where I lived, and as kids we used to ride our bicycles by it, and we called it the Gabby Street Mansion.
Yeah.
I don't know if it qualifies as a mansion, but
well, it's only 2 stories, and it has a little little cove on the right or left, depending upon which way you're looking at it. But it does have those Roman columns, which make it kind of look menacing.
He put those in, I think, when they renovated the house.
Yeah.
He spent the summer, I think it was the winter of 37 renovating the house and putting in a basement and putting in the columns and changing the house around to make it what he and Lucinda called their dream home.
Well, it is a beautiful home. So it's 1950, and Gabby Street has retired from announcing, and they have a day in Joplin, Missouri.
Right.
For Gabby Street.
Well, everybody knew that Gabby was ill.
Yeah.
And the Downtown's Lion Club had purchased lands to build a baseball stadium for the Gabby Street League, and they intended a dedication ceremony. And when it was clear that Gabby was ill, they expanded this to have a Gabby Street Day, and the date that they finally settled on a date in January 1950. And the schools closed, both the Catholic schools and the public schools closed. They had a parade, and a number of prominent radio people came to town. And sitting on the front row, I believe, if I identified the people correctly, the second to the right of the man standing, I believe to be Joe Garagiola, then Red Shandies, Enos Slaughter, Stan Musial, and Harry Carey sitting on the front row at the high school for the convocation.
That is Musial in a dark suit, turning to his left to probably say something funny to Harry Carey.
Yeah, that to me, Musial's the most identifiable on the
Yes.
picture. I'm less sure about Slaughter and Garagiola. That pretty sure that's Red Shandy's there.
That's definitely Slaughter.
Okay.
That is definitely Slaughter. And then there's a woman's head in between Slaughter's head and Musial's head.
Right.
I don't know who
right.
that. But yeah, so he had some high profile people for the Cardinals there, which is nice.
It was kind of interesting. Most of them came down by the train, but Musial flew in.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess by 50 he was kind of a big deal. So where is this taking place? This particular, I guess
Joplin High School.
Oh, okay, so it's in the high school auditorium. Okay.
Yeah.
So you own both of these items?
Yes. One of them, the bottom one, came out of the wallet, I believe, but that's Mrs. Street's pass, her souvenir pass to the items. I don't know who had the top one, and the scan is not that clear, but it is signed by Gabby. You can see that, but then it's signed by 4 Hall of Famers: Shandy, Slaughter, Musial, and Harry Carey.
Yep, that is an amazing piece.
Yeah.
How were you able to acquire that one?
I don't remember how I got it, whether I got it in that auction or when I got it.
Because Musial did sign a lot, but to have all those guys together on one card, not one card, business card, but have all those autographs that is an amazing piece.
And the other side is the same as the picture at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
This is a same. It's the same Souvenir Gabby Street Day card, but I just put the backside in the scan because of all these autographs.
Of course. So I thought this was like World War I stuff, but I guess it's not, right?
No. This is stuff that was presented to Gabby at various times and various places by various organizations, which is just kind of fun to have. On the left, it's folded out. This is a toiletries bag. You can see the brushes and remember razors. Remember back when you had those kinds of things? I don't think men have these anymore, but it was presented by the Webb City Chamber of Commerce in 1934, I believe.
And what is that like round sort of metal object on the right?
An ashtray.
Oh. Does it say anything in it?
Yes. Muskogee Baseball Club to Charles Jr. I can't tell if it's a 2 or a 3. 24. It looks like that he was managing Muskogee at the time, and I think when the son was born. So this is a birth, it's a gift given to commemorate the birth of Charles Jr.
Which, as we know, is 100 years ago in 2 days.
100 years ago, right.
Well, actually, by the time this airs, it will be already 100. It will already be 100 years.
Right. And then there's a lighter given to him by the grocers of I forget what town it was, somewhere up in Missouri.
And so Gabby Street did have some national attention. He's on the cover of Time magazine.
He's on the cover of Time magazine.
What year is that?
1931. Or it's good. Yeah, I believe it's 31. It's after he won the World Series.
Right. And what's the magazine above that?
That's a baseball magazine. with a picture of him and Connie Mack. You mentioned in this, or perhaps in the last episode, that the Cardinals played against the Athletics in 2 World Series, and this was a picture of the 2 managers on the front of Baseball magazine.
And we'll get to the middle in a second. What the far right is a plaque of some
The
sort.
far right is, it's hard to lift, is the State of Alabama Sports Hall of Fame.
Nice.
It's interesting that Gabby only played as a kid in Alabama. He never lived in Alabama after that. And yet the state of Alabama commemorated his importance to Alabama by making him a member of the Alabama Hall of Fame. You mentioned he grew up. We mentioned he was born in Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
I have a watch that was presented by his friends in Huntsville, Alabama. Doesn't say exactly when it was presented, but it just says, yes, it does say it was presented in 31.
Oh, that was the World Series here.
Right, to Charles from Huntsville friends.
I guess when you win the World Series, all your friends come.
All your friends come out of the woodwork.
So the middle, I find this to be where it starts to become, you start to become connected to this story, because I guess in 1950 or 51 they named one of the streets Gabby Street Boulevard, although this one says Gabby Street and Main Street.
Well, if you look at the very bottom there, you'll see the BLVD.
Oh yeah, there it is, Boulevard. Okay,
So this
Gabby
is
Street Boulevard. Yeah.
This is at the corner of Gabby Street Boulevard and Main Street. There was a whole discussion in connection with that Gabby Street Day of naming a street after Gabby, and there were 3 streets that were considered: 7th Street, Maiden Lane, and 26th Street, which was also known as 26th Street Boulevard. And it was, so the first choice was 7th Street, but then people said, this is weird, we're going to have Gabby Street, and that doesn't sound very good. So they finally came up with Gabby Street Boulevard. So this was 26th Street, and it was a few blocks down from where I lived. But then, so they have this picture of Gabby putting a finishing touch, so-called, on the paint, and it was at the corner of Main Street and Gabby Street Boulevard. They had 15 of these that they ordered to be on the new Gabby Street Boulevard.
So when you spoke at the sesquicentennial, in what year was that?
2 years ago.
Okay. At that point, I know from your presentation that they had taken the Gabby Street Boulevard signs off of that street, and you had hoped that they would put them back on, and said that publicly, and they did, right?
Well, I don't know if I had any influence on it. A friend of mine who was a member of the city council for my class was a member of city council, and he was pushing that. So when I made that talk, I decided to end by giving support to Phil and the group. At some point, somebody who didn't know much about baseball history decided that Gabby Street Boulevard, we want to call it 26th Street again, which is very boring in my view.
Of course.
And so I think the result of all of this was that there's now a sign at the beginning that says 26th Street, also known as Gabby Street Boulevard.
There you go. So it's back.
It's sort of back.
Okay. Now this is the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Do you own this?
Yeah.
There it
is.
This is from Heritage.
This one was also purchased online, or from Heritage. The baseball, 1966, Charles Gabby Street, 1966 honoree, Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. So
Nice.
this is well after his death, 16 years after his death. But
Now, Lucinda outlives him by a little bit, right? Is she
yes,
still? When does she move on?
when did 1982?
Okay, so she would have been probably the recipient of this.
I would assume. I assume that went
Yeah.
to the family, and then that's how I got it.
Yeah.
And that she died in 82.
Okay, so here we go. This is our last slide, and this is a little league picture.
Well, we don't call it Little League. I was not good enough to make Little League. Little League started about the year before. I tried out for Little League and I didn't make it. But we had the Gabby Street League, which preceded Little League. The Downtown Lions Club organized the Gabby Street League in about 1938. And so we had youth baseball in Joplin before Little League existed.
Yep.
And so I played on the Tigers. I was a weak hitting, poor fielding first baseman for the Gabby Street League Tigers. We were the champions of the league, though, I should point out.
Well, I guess you weren't that poor, because in youth league, first base is a pretty important position.
Well,
you make a lot of outs.
Yeah. Well, I managed to catch the balls. The kid on the top row, second from the left, kind of a husky kid there. He was the star of the team. That's the pitcher, Dwight Laughlin. So
Right.
we didn't do much without him.
And you are the third person from the right.
Two people, if you look at the picture, second from the left of the coach.
Yes. There's the coach wearing a 1950s outfit with the
Yeah.
cups and then another young man, and then yourself. This
That's
is
me.
1953,
That
54.
Must be 53 or 54.
Nice.
You know, when you're 11 and 12.
That's the way I'd like to wrap up this Gabby Street presentation. A remarkable human being, a person almost like Zelig or what's the movie with Tom Tom Hanks, where he's part of history in so many different ways.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute.
I always forget the name of the movie. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm sure I'll think of it in about a minute. But anyway,
So,
my point is that Gabby Street, from early in Huntsville, and then the San Francisco earthquake, and Walter Johnson, and the Washington Monument, and a hero in World War One, interacting with Branch Rickey, plays all over the place, all over the world, all over the country, manages, encourages, and buys shoes for the first female professional sports baseball player, manages the pre-Gas House Gang. Harry Carey is involved. I mean, it's just a remarkable story from beginning to end. And your connection is that you're a Joplin guy, and you played in the Gabby Street Little League, and there you are buying a lot of his personal items in a heritage auction in 2008, with so many different connections, not only to Gabby Street but to Joplin itself. And so the whole story sort of wraps up into a really wonderful package. And to finish with this photograph, which you must bring back some memories, which are probably precious and personal. That makes it so special. So, Galen, I really wanted to thank you for opening up my viewers' eyes, and certainly my eyes, to this person who, to me, was Walter Johnson's catcher. That's how I know him. But then when I fate brought me this card, and then brought us together, I learned that these players are more than just a guy who's on a T206. He's a player with such a connection to so many different things American. And what do we have here?
Well, you mentioned what you know him for, but this is a photocopy of Gabby's obituary from the New York Times, and it says Gabby Street dies, baseball star, 67, early battery mate of Walter Johnson, first to catch toss from the Washington Monument. So that's what he was known for.
So again, sir, thank you so much for taking so much time to present this to me and to our viewers. It's been a special 2-part episode, and I would hope we could stay in touch and maybe do some other collaboration down the road. So any final words?
It just, I'm so happy to have a chance to share my appreciation of Gabby Street with your audience. I enjoy your videos, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Viewers, we will see you back here next week.